Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am CA Pavan Kedia, the moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all to this webinar, which is being organized by the Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICI. Please block your calendar on Wednesday and Friday to get insight into various emerging and high-value technical topics. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for the webinar on drafting replies of GST notices and enhancing audit quality. In short while we will start this webinar, first I would like to appraise you about the CP committee. The professional chartered accountancy is growing leap and bounds, and it is phenomenal growth has brought the profession at the forefront. Today, our profession has acquired an indispensable position in business and economy. ICI continuously aims at developing knowledge aids so that the members stand out to the expectations of the society. To achieve this objective, the CP committee of ICI has been continuously striving for perfection. Integrity, knowledge, which makes the word chartered accountant synonymous with excellence in service. In this direction, the CP committee has always been proactive in the emerging needs of its members, enabling them to acquire contemporary knowledge and skills to face the challenges effectively by organizing CP programs and providing adequate opportunities. The program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1 hour each, and the topics are drafting replies of GST notices, enhancing audit quality. Our eminent speakers talk about the above mentioned two emerging areas of professional interest. Now I introduce our chairman CP committee, CA Satish Ji Gupta. CA Satish Kumar Gupta ji is presently serving as the chairman of the Continuing Professional Education Committee of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. In addition to this role, he is also the chairman of the UDIN Directorate and vice chairman of the committee for members in practice for the current term. He previously served as a council member of ICI from 2019 to 2022, during which he held key leadership positions, including Chairman Committee on Corporate Social Responsibility, Vice Chairman Direct Taxes Committee, Vice Chairman Professional Development Committee, Vice Chairman Committee on Management Accounting. A distinguished figure in the professional community, C.A. Satish Ji Gupta also served as the president of the Rajasthan Tax Consultant Association, a premier body of tax professionals for a remarkable decades, 2013 to 2023. In the past, he held the position of chairman of the Jaipur branch of Central India Regional Council of ICI, during which the branch was honored with the Excellent Branch Award by CRC, recognizing outstanding performance under his leadership. C.A. Satish Kumar Gupta ji has been recipient of several prestigious accolades, including Best Member of the Year 2004 by Rajasthan Tax Consultant Association, Yuva Pratibha Samman, recognizing his contribution and excellence as a young professional in the year 2002. A prolific speaker and writer, he has authored numerous papers and delivered insightful lectures at various seminars, residential refresher courses, and webinars. His areas of expertise include income tax assessment and de-assessment, surveys and searches under income tax, soft skill and personal development topics such as goal setting and career planning, with a deep commitment to knowledge dissemination and professional development. C.A. Satish Kumar Gupta ji continues to inspire and empower professionals across the country. Now I hand over the mic to C.A. Satish ji Gupta.
Thank you, Pawanji.
Sir.
My younger brother, but my president, I say always to him, Sri Atul Kumar ji Gupta, past president ICI, Sri Manoj ji Fadnis, past president ICI, who represents my region, Pawanji Kedia, my vice chairman of the committee, dynamic leader of the West, dynamic leader of chartered accountants, a very good professional, Vishnu Agrawal ji from Mumbai, technical team and team PP committee in the leadership of Tiwari ji, and my dear friends who in very large number attending this webinar today. Welcome each one of you. and thanks a lot for attending this webinar. Friends, this webinar is very special. This webinar is very special because today we have two eminent speakers with us. Our past president, CA Manoj Fadnis ji, and our past president, CA Atul Gupta ji. Both are the luminaries of the profession, and I personally feel that they will take their topics in a very elaborate manner. And today, after attending this webinar, we will definitely have some value addition to our knowledge, to our professional ethics, and to audit quality also. So, friends, this is something great today, and I am really thankful each one of you attending this webinar in such a large number. Friends, I would like to brief something about the CPA committee of the ICI. This year, friends, we have focused on the quality and availability of the CPE programs. As far as quality is concerned, we are taking care that this year onwards, we make it possible that the CPE credit is available on real-time attendance basis. Meaning thereby that if a member register for 12-hour program but attend only 6 hours, he or she will get the 6-hour credit only. Likewise, as far as availability is concerned, I would like to say that to ensure the availability, we are reaching to the last chartered accountant of the remotest corner of our country by way of increasing the CP chapter, by way of increasing the CP circles, and by way of increasing the CP groups. Apart from this, friends, you are just noticing that we have increased the Wednesday also for our webinars. Just we have brought to these webinars few new things. One thing that we are coming up with our speakers of foreign countries who will tell us the opportunities in their respective country for our profession. We are also inviting the industry experts to tell us that what are the opportunities in their specific industry. We are also inviting the experts of the government schemes to tell us that what are the opportunities in the government schemes, whether it is central schemes or whether it is state schemes for our professionals. So with this thing, friends, we are ensuring the quality and availability of the CPE programs. And friends, we need your cooperation, we need your support so we can do more things this time in the CPE committee. Friends, I would also like to take 1 or 2 minutes more just to tell you about the UDIN programs. Friends, I am also heading the UDIN directorate this time. And friends, you would be happy to know that we have taken initiation for 3 new initiatives this year in the UDIN directorate. One, that now from this year onwards, no member would be in position to generate 61st UDIN for his or her tax audit. So this is something welcome step for our members. Now there will be no possibility to generate 61st UDIN in case of tax audit. Second thing, second initiative which I have taken this year is that you can now know the name of your succeeding auditor. As of now, friends, if the auditee change the auditor without inform and the new auditor does not inform the previous auditor, there is no mechanism with the previous auditor, especially in the case of tax audit, to know the name of the new auditor. So with the help of UDIN technology, we are just providing you the name of the succeeding auditor in case of any auditee. So one thing which we have taken the care this year, friends, is the we are going to mention it compulsory to provide you that the whether there is any qualification or disclaimer or EOM in your audit, we are asking or requesting each auditor to mention that particular fact. So we have the data to mention it before the government in case of need. Friends, I'm in not in India as of now. I'm in Georgia, and there is some issue that our flights have been cancelled. So we are a group of 64 majorly chartered accountants there in group. So some work is there, so I don't want to take much of your time. There are some arrangements which I am to make. So I'm really sorry for that not involving fully with your in this webinar. Sorry with the Atul sir, sorry with the Manoj sir. But I'm really thankful for both of them for giving their valuable time for the benefit of our members and profession. So friend, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for this, for coming and attending this webinar. I feel that in this year, coming year and coming year, we would also meet several times. through these webinars and through physical programs also. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Over to Pawanji. All the best. Pawanji.
Sir, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, now I am going to introduce Sri Vishnu Kumar Ji Agarwal, FCA.
Pawanji, I request you just brief in two lines. Because we have to given more and more time to our speaker Atul Gupta ji.
Yes, sir. Yes. Vishnu Kumar Agarwal is a Central Council member of ICI for the term 25-29. He currently serves as the Vice Chairman of the CP Committee and Direct Taxes Committee of ICI. Additionally, he is an esteemed member of several author key committee of ICI. With over 2 decades experience, he specializes in income tax matters and has also authored the book Landmark Judgment of Income Tax. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pawanji. Our respected past president, Sri Atul Gupta ji, and in the Manoj Phadnis ji, and the chairman of this committee, Satish Gupta ji, moderator of today's webinar, Pawanji, and Ajitnath Tiwari ji, the secretary of this particular committee. I welcome Atul Gupta ji and Manoj Phadnis ji in spite of his busy schedule, but he has given 24/7 available for the Chartered Accountant Institute, profession, friends, both the speakers. I have with the day before yesterday, I was with the Atul Gupta ji and Manoj Phadnis ji in the past precedent meeting. Friends, both of the person has given very good suggestion for the profession and betterment of the members and the student. Friends, in spite of his busy schedule, today Atul Gupta ji is not in the Delhi, he is at Mussoorie, and given the time for the members and the students and betterment of the profession, how to reply the GST notices, and in same way the Manoj Phadnis ji speak on the audit quality. Friends, under the CP committee, we are doing the webinar in 2 days in the week, and apart from the CP committee also, I'm vice chairman of the direct tax committee. Under the direct tax committee, friends, we have given the representation before the selection committee for the new finance bill 2025 close by close. We have given the representation. I request each one of you, if you have any suggestion in your mind, in your idea, just mail to the dtc@ici.in. Friends, apart from this, we are also coming with the guidance, the revised guidance note of section 44AB, and it will become in the next week for the exposure draft. If you have any suggestion, please give. And we are also coming with the first time for the checklist of the ITR form number 1 to 7, and it will come in the next month itself. Friends, we are taking so many decisions. Our Satish Gupta ji has already told that you can't generate the UDIN after the 60. Friends, we in the council, we have very landmark, we have taken the decision that if we have 4 partners in a firm, until one partner can sign 240 tax audit in the year. Friends, from the next year, this decision will be taken from 1/4/2026. Each and every individual partner will sign, if they are the 4 partners and tax audit is 240 tax audit in the particular firm. Friends, individual partner will sign 60 tax audit. Before that, any one of the partner can sign the 240 audits in that on behalf of the another partner. Now, any partner cannot sign any tax audit report on behalf of the another partner on any other person. Friends, Atul Gupta ji will deliberate the reply of the how to give the reply of the GST notices, and Manoj Phadnis ji will be deliberated on the tax audit quality, audit quality. Friends, so maximum we will give the time to the both of the speaker. President sir, again I thanks from my bottom of heart to giving this time, particularly in spite of busy schedule, to our chartered accountant fraternity. Sir, I welcome you, and thanks to from my bottom of heart from both of the past president Atul Gupta ji and Manoj Phadnis ji. With these words, I request our moderator to introduce our today speaker Atul Gupta ji. There is no requirement, no need of the introduction, but for the benefit of our members, I request Pawan ji to introduce. Thank you, sir.
Pawanji, I will request very small, otherwise we can leave, because I have now 45 minutes only to speak. Pawanji, you are on mute. You have to unmute.
At this time, more than 730 members are participating in this webinar. Now, I am introducing CA Atul Gupta ji sir, past president of ICI. During such association with the ICI as a council member since 2013, he served as the president of ICI from 20 to 21 and vice president 19, from 19 to 20. Sir has served the accountancy profession for more than 2 decades, widely respected for his strong organizational skill and deep insight in the affairs of the profession. He is currently serving on board of IFSC since November 2020, nominated by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, also on the board of many other reputed organizations in India. He remained the chairman of CPD committee of SAFA, members of the PFM committee of CAPA, member of IRDAI, SEBI Primary, and many other organizations. Being thoroughly conversant with the profession concerns and demands of his time, C.A. Gupta ji has authored many relevant books and has published numerous articles in leading relevant books and published numerous articles in leading newspaper, magazine, and professional newsletters, and has vast experience in SAMP practice, specializing in management consultancy, taxation, especially GST, ITEs, audit, and has delivered lectures in about 1,500 seminars and conferences. Thank you, Atul Gupta ji. I
Thank
hand
you,
over
Pawan
my.
ji. Yeah, thank you, Pawan ji. Honorable past President Manoj Fadnis ji, Satish ji, Vishnu ji, Pawan ji, Ajit bhai, and all my respected colleagues who have joined. Thanks for the opportunity. Friends, we talk about the very important topic. As you are aware that these days thousands of show cause notices are getting issued, and even 30th June is the last date for the extended period assessment as far as the 2018-19 is concerned. So I believe that not less than a million kind of show cause notices issued in the last few years, and now everybody is looking towards the reply of the show cause notices, even at the appeals are there. So, my dear friend, my deliberation in the next 45 minutes or so will be concentrating that how we can draft a good reply, or even prepare a good appeal, so that when we talk about the GST, we should not be concentrating on the compliance part only, because the compliance is going to outsource to the systems later or sooner. But we have to concentrate on the litigation side, because that is the future of the profession as well. So, my dear friend, just coming out from that introduction, to share with you, when we talk about the litigation, when we talk about the show cause notices or the demand notice as being given under section 73, 74, the origination of the show cause notice are there from the four following steps. Number one, that at times the department are initiating certain assessment. Specifically, I am talking about the ASMT 10, that under section 61, they are issuing the ASMT 10, and in case after the issuing the ASMT 10, the disagreement between the SSC and the department is there, that the SSC could not submit any reply, or the replies are not satisfactory, or even the instruction given by the department are not being complied by the SSC. In that case, the department has no option but either to conduct an audit of the SSC or issue a notice under section 73 or under section 74. Similarly, when we talk about the audits, similarly things are there when the department is conducting the audit and the disagreement is there, which results in the issuance of the show cause notice under section 73 or under section 74. Finally, the next one, the regular inquiries, investigation, DGGI, or any other inquiries are there by the department, which results in the show cause notice. And last but not the least, for example, the proceedings like the refund claim, the erroneous refund claims, which is being granted by the department, and now to recover that amount, the department has to issue the show cause notice. So, my dear friend, when we talk about that, how the show cause notice are getting originated, so these are the four basic reasons when these show cause notice are being issued by the department. I will touch upon the another aspect, that the reason of the show cause notice I will also touch upon, so that I can give you a comprehensive view. But just to share with you, when this show cause notice or show cause notice is being issued by the department, then either under section 73 or 74. What is the difference between 73 and 74? That also I will touch upon for a 2 minutes time. But just to share with you that the SSC has to submit a reply to the show cause notice. And this is the job which I am going to do with you, that how to prepare a good reply. So how we can prepare a good reply, that is something I'm going to explain you or share with you my thoughts around that. Then, my dear friend, I am giving you the flow of litigation just for a minute. And then, my dear friend, once the reply has been submitted by the SSC, an opportunity of being heard will be given by the department. There will be the 3 hearings maximum. And in case the SSC will not appear in all those 3 hearings, the department has the power to do the ex parte assessment. But at the same time, if the hearings are not being given properly, timely, in that case, the principle of natural justice will not be followed, and we can always challenge a order in original issued by the department or the appeal order, as the case may be. Now, my dear friend, once the opportunity of being heard is being given, the department will issue an order in original. The adjudication order will be issued, and there may be that situation. That one is that it is in my favor. So it is, if it is in my favor, the matter ends there. But in case it is not, so if the matter is not decided in my favor, I have to go to the first appellate authority, and then also the opportunity of being heard will be given. So now I will also share you that how to draft a good deal. That also I will touch upon a little bit, and then the opportunity of being heard will be there. Finally, the appeal order will be issued by the first appellate authority, and if the order is in my favor, it's good. I won the case. But in case it is not, that the order is also not in my favor, then I have the opportunity to go to the second appellate authority. I just wish to share with you that when I'm filing the first level of reply, there is no pre-deposit which is required. But when I am filing the first appeal, when I'm filing this appeal, I have to deposit the 10% of the tax, not the interest and penalty. So if the demand is 5 crores and the interest and penalties are also there, I have to deposit the 10% of the 5 crores, that is 50 lakh rupees, before along with the appeal is being filed. Now, my dear friend, I am going to file the second appellate authority. I am going to the second appellate authority, which is going to be constituted very soon. Again, I have to deposit the 10% as a pre-deposit additionally on that 5 crore of rupees, and then the opportunity of being heard also will be there, and finally the order will be passed by the department. If it is in my favor, matter ends there. But if it is no, in that case I have to go to the High Court or the Supreme Court, as the case may be, and the final order will be passed by the Honorable High Court or Supreme Court, and the matter will attain the finalization. So, my dear friend, this is the hierarchy of the show cause notice which you have received. Now, it's very important point which I just wish to share with you, that when I'm drafting the appeal, when I'm drafting an appeal or when I'm drafting a reply, so when I'm drafting a reply, it's very, very important that I should be aware that there may be a situation that I have to go to the first level of appeal or the tribunal or even to the High Court, so that the whatever the submissions I am giving, that should track the future litigation. It should not be a case that tomorrow there is a challenge that I have not taken any particular plea, and in the next level of challenge, when I'm filing appeal or at the tribunal, they will say that you never take that appeal at the first level. So the one point which I just wish to give you, the first takeaway, that you have to track all the future litigation in such a way that when you are making a reply, it should be so comprehensive that you are taking all the possible plea which you wish to take at this highest level. Now, my dear friend, so practically when you are drafting, you have to draft like you are submitting your appeal to the Honorable High Court or the Supreme Court, and you are capturing all the relevant points before them. Now, my dear friend, when we talk about the show cause notice, as I mentioned you, the reason of the show cause notice will be for that there was for example, ASMT 10 was there, issued by the department, which could not be concluded. There was an audit which was there by the department. Then there was an inquiry by the NTUA or the DGGI, or there was a refund issue. The RNS refund issue was there. So because of all these 4 proceedings, ultimately, if they are not satisfied, the department has to issue a show cause notice. Now, my dear friend, when the department is issuing a show cause notice, as per section 73, section 74, there should be one of the reason as well. So either it should be a tax not paid, meaning thereby the department came to the knowledge after the ASMT 10 or the audit that there are certain services on which the tax was not paid, the GST was not paid at all. So they will issue a show cause notice to you. The tax short paid, meaning thereby lakh rupees, but you paid only 4 lakhs rupees. So there is a short paid. The tax erroneously refunded, meaning thereby you believe your activities are falling under the inverted duty structure or the export of services, but later on the department is of the view that it is not the export of services. So they will look for a refund of that, the recovery of that refund claim which was granted to you. And finally, the ITC wrongly availed or utilized. So what I'm trying to convey you that if any of these four, any one of these four or one or more is the reason, and they found out that particular deficiency in any of these four proceedings, in that case they will issue a cause notice under section 73 or under section 74. Now again and again I'm saying or under section 73 or under section 74. Why I'm saying so? Because my dear friend, what I'm trying to convey you that in case there are any of these four reasons are there, that any of these four reasons are there, and they found out under these proceedings, but the department is of the view that there is no mala fide intention, it was a bona fide mistake. So they feel that there was no fraud, no willful misstatement, though no suppression is there, and there was no issue at all. So it's no, there was no mens rea was there was no intention to evade the tax was there. In that case, the department will issue the notice under section 73 and for a limited period of 3 years from the date of filing of your annual return. But in case the department feel that there was a fraud intention of the fraud as well, there was a willful misstatement, there is a suppression of fact with the intention to evade the tax. So please remember my words, the suppression of fact with the intention to evade the tax, in that case, they will issue the notice under section 74 as per the CGST Act. Now, my dear friend, why I'm worrying about this section 73 or section 74 is very important to understand. Now, my dear friend, in case the notice will be issued to me under section 73, the demand can be there only for the 3 years. But in case it is under section 74, the demand will be for 5 years. Meaning thereby, if the demand is for 1 crore rupees per year, if the demand is for 3 years, it will be 3 crore. But if the demand is for 5 years, it will be 5 crore. Number one. Number two, the penalty. So, my dear friend, the maximum penalty which can be there under section 73 is only 10% of the tax. But in case of a section 74, the penalty will take to a level of 100% of the tax. So, to be evaded. Meaning thereby, if the demand is for 5 crore, practically after 5 years at the rate of 18% interest, will be also 5 crore, penalty will also be 5 crore. So practically I will be contesting a case for 15 crore. Whereas if the demand is only for the section 73, practically this 5 will become 3, this 5 will become 3, this 5 this interest will also become maybe a 1 or 2, and the penalty will be again, it will be only 30 lakhs maximum. So practically the gravity of the case will get reduced, and accordingly the pre-deposit amount and everything will be having a different color. So my dear friend, when I am starting my next chapter, that how to prepare a good reply, when I'm looking for the discussion that okay, how to make a good reply of the show cause notice or how to prepare a good appeal, then my dear friend, the first point which I wish to convey you, that the first litigation, the first, I will say, the argument in your reply in the capital A letter, that the the extended period cannot be invoked in this particular case. And very importantly, my dear friend, it's not a ready-made that okay, you will ask somebody that okay, you need a ready-made reply of this particular aspect that the extended period should not be invoked. No, my dear friend, because your facts will be different as compared to the facts of your friend. It's very important that we have to logically, with the supportive evidence, prove that there was no mens rea, there was no mala fide intention. For example, when you are preparing a reply, so that for example, the department alleged that there was a mala fide intention, there was a suppression of fact, but in actually what happened, that there may be the genuine reasons. For example, you believe that your activities are exempted under the GST, and you reflected that amount in your GST return also as an exempted supply, meaning thereby that was in the knowledge of the department, because it is the duty of the department to review each and every return so filed. So when you declared yourself that my certain turnover is exempted turnover, now the mala fide intention cannot be there. Similarly, you believe that your activities are not taxable because of certain advance ruling. There were contradictory judgment by the honorable high courts or the tribunals or by any other authorities. The advance ruling was there, which you believe that is in your favor. There was certain circular or the notification issued by the department, which also says that your activities are not taxable. So, my dear friend, you have to prove, you have to substantiate in your reply that why the extended period should not be invoked. And number two, very importantly, you have to read the show cause notice in the toto in a true sense and see that what are the allegations which has been imposed by the department while invoking the extended period, meaning thereby that if the department has just invoked the extended period without giving any particular reason that why it was so, then in that case, my dear friend, it's very important that you have to counter that aspect also, that the department has not given exactly the allegation. How I will argue? For example, the department will say that that SSC was not cooperating, so there was an intention to evade. Now you have to prove that whenever the department asks certain details, I submitted. So it was 15 times the department asked me the certain details, I submitted all the 15 times. So how you can say, number one, number two, that even if I have not declared certain income in my GST return, but I declared the same in my financial statement, which are available in the public domain. So in that case, it is very important that okay, you can say that if my balance sheets, my financial statements are there in the public domain, how you can say that there was an intention to evade? So my dear friend, it's very, very important for all of us to reduce your gravity. I'm aware that in case the show cause notice was issued within the limitation period of section 73, as per the section 75, even if you will litigate at the higher level that the section 74 was wrongly invoked, as per the section 75, the notice can be converted under section 73. So yes, the demand will be there for 3 years. I have to contest the case on the merit as well. But at least the gravity of the issue, as I mentioned you, from 15 crore to 3 crore 30 lakhs or 4 crores or 4.5 crore will be there. And accordingly, that will actually give you the breathing space. So my dear friend, first and the foremost aspect, after I shared with you that you have to track the future litigation, the second point which you have to take away, you have to have the takeaway that in the capital A letter, when you are starting after the statement of the facts, when you are starting your drafting of your reply, the ground of reply or something like that, you have to have the first point before the merit points that the extended period cannot be invoked, and then you have to give a 10-page reasoning of the along with all the relevant documents with that okay, why you believe so, why there was a supportive evidence available that there was no mens rea involved. And that will save you, because if you will not take that particular point, tomorrow if you are going to the tribunal or the high court, the honorable high court or the tribunal may say that you never took that particular point in your reply, how you can take a new plea here. So my dear friend, it's very important. Even if you want to contest your penalties, unless and until you will not challenge the extended period, you will not be able to do. Now, my dear friend, coming to the other few points which are important for the drafting a good reply. Number three, which I wish to convey you, that the spoken words fly away, written words remain. My dear friend, many times when the show cause notice are for 40 pages, if the replies are only for 5 pages or 7 pages or 10 pages, that will not serve any purpose, because we feel that when I will go with the hearing, I will explain everything. But you are aware that many times what will happen, that the hearings will not, because the actually it will depend on the how the will be getting conducted. Now there may be the time, because superintendents and others who are going to support the honorable adjudicating authority. So my dear friend, there may be a situation that whatever you have mentioned will not be remembered by the adjudicating authority, as you have mentioned many things. So it's very, very important that whatever you want to say, whatever you want to intend, whatever you want to be, even at the high level, you have to mention that in your reply. So it's very, very important. Otherwise, you will be able to tomorrow that I contested this particular point at the level of the adjudication. The another point, my dear friend, that the contain in details all your submissions. So the submission should be very comprehensive, and not only comprehensive, it should be substantiated with the various logical reasonings. What I'm trying to convey you, my dear friend, the first point which I wish to share with you with this, the contention, the contain, the detailed reply. My dear friend, it is very important that one of my friend once mentioned in one of the program that when if you have a 10 hours time available with you to prepare a good reply, at least 4 hours you should devote in reading the particular show cause notice, 3 to 4 hours in reading the show cause notice and carve out all the allegations in that particular show cause notice. Because if you will start suddenly drafting the reply without reading the complete show cause notice, there may be many situations which will emerge. Number one, that at times you will mentioning many circulars of the notification repeatedly, because whenever the issue will come, you will write again the same thing. So it will not gel, it will not give a lucid way to your reply, and the corroboration between the various replies will not be there. So it is very important. Number two, at times you will miss certain allegation at all. So now if you will go in the higher forum and the departmental representative will argue that you have not given any answer for this particular allegation, you will come to surprise because you never contested that particular point in the at the lower forum. So my dear friend, it's very important that we should devote 3 hours in the draft, in the reading of the reply, in the reading of the show cause notice, then 4 hours for creating the raw material, like our family, our this home minister of our family used to prepare every raw material before making the food. Likewise, when you are starting your reply, drafting your reply, you should have all the raw material available. Which notification I will refer, which circular I will refer, which judgment I will refer, what is the provision in the law which is there, so that you can prepare all the 40 allegations in the show cause notice and the raw material against those 40 allegations, that what you are going to reply with, which you can substantiate. So it's very important that how you are substantiating, because the logic will not work. You feel that it is not taxable, you perceive that it is not taxable, will not work. It is the, you have to give the logical conclusion that, oh my lord, my the adjudicating authority or even to the tribunal level, sir, this is the decision which I am relying upon, the para number 5 of this decision which I am relying upon. This notification is there, this circular is there, which is saying the same thing. As per the facts of my case vis-a-vis the reply, whichever is the order which is available at the public domain, both are similar. So that should be followed, the res judicta. So my dear friend, it's very important that we have to create a situation that my case become a res judicta, meaning thereby a settled law position, so that it will become a binding on the adjudicating authority. So my dear friend, at times, and then I was talking about the 10 hours, the 3 hours for the carving out the allegations, 4 hours for the creating the raw material, arranging the raw material, and last 3 hours for the drafting of the reply, so that your reply will be very, very lucid. And importantly, if the show cause notice is there for 40 pages, your reply should be for 100 pages. And on the lighter side, I just wish to share with you that to make the reply of 100 pages, it should not be that we are attaching a 70-page show cause notification or the judgment to make it 100-page reply. No, my dear friend, the content should be like this, that it becomes a 100-page reply without any kind of a repetition, without reproducing any circular or notification in toto, so that it should be a genuinely well drafted, well articulated reply is there. Now, my dear friend, coming to the another very, very important aspect, that when you are making any quoting any particular judgment or a notification, it's very important that rather than quoting only the citation of the judgment or name of the judgment, it is important that you reproduce a relevant para you want to rely upon. Because if you will say that, okay, the judgment is there, ABC versus Union of India. Now, whether the adjudicating authority will try to find out which the judgment is there, and then we read the judgment and articulate and select the paragraph which is in your favor. Hardly, practically impossible, because who will have the time to read this entire judgment and find out the beneficial paragraph for you? You have to carve out the paragraph which is beneficial for you in the notification, circular, judgment, or advance ruling, and then reproduce the same in an italic form in your reply in such a way that you will say that the similar view was there in this particular judgment, and I am reproducing the same into my reply. So that is the way that you have to see that you are. So now coming to my another aspect, my dear friend. So the incomplete or unsubstantiated. So your reply should be well substantiated. Then, my dear friend, as I mentioned you, the cover the future litigation I have already covered. I mentioned you that you have to carefully read the notice or SCN for which you and carve out all the important points. Clarity must be obtained that what issue you need to draft, and then the necessary research should be there. Important point is there that there may be certain ambiguities in this show cause notice as well. There may be certain lapse as there maybe there in the show cause notice. So, my dear friend, it's very important that we note down all the ambiguities which are there in the notices or in the order so that you can also highlight the same. I will just touch upon that particular aspect also in the next few minutes. Another point which I just wish to mention, my dear friends, here that when I was mentioning that you have to prepare a 100-page reply against the show cause notice of 40-page, it's very important also that you make it as simple and easy to understand, even by a layman. So it's not that okay, you have to make it so, I will say, the flowery language or reproducing again and again certain circular or notification that it is become kind of a that okay, I'm not able to read because the same circular is getting reproduced 5 times in the 100-page reply. No, it should be like you are reading a fiction. You are reading a particular, say for example, the drafting of the law, or you are reading a particular some kind of a book. It should look like that. That okay, you have pointed out all your major points one by one, and you have prepared a good reply against each of the points separately. And wherever there was a requirement that okay, you can bundle up 4 5 allegation in one go, then also it is very important because that will reduce a lot of repetition on your part. So that's also very important when you are making such replies. Now, my dear friend, I was talking about the ambiguities that there may be certain ambiguities, maybe there that we wish to highlight. Now, here I wish to mention, my dear friends, that there may be certain cases when there are the vague show cause notice. I just wish to share with you that it's very important that when you are reading the show cause notice, you should see that if there is any ambiguity or the vagueness in the show cause notice is there, that should also be highlighted in your reply. I'm giving you one example. My dear friend, there may be a case when the show cause notice is not clear in itself that in which category the activity of the assessee should be taxable. I find many times that the department is issuing the notice saying the activity may fall under the works contract service or under the repair management maintenance and repair service. Now, my dear friend, when the department is itself is not clear that whether it will fall under the chapter 85 or chapter 86, under the category A or under the category B, that how you will be making a reply. So, my dear friend, whenever these kind of issues are there, then there is a judgment of a Shubham Electricals from a Delhi High Court which says that these kind of a show cause notice are completely vague and bad in the eyes of the law, and they should be immediately set aside. So, my dear friend, it's very important that when you are reading the show cause notices, whatever the ambiguities are there. For example, the another ambiguity which I just mentioned you earlier, that they invoke the extended period without any allegations. So they simply mentioned that the section 74 you have a demand, but no allegation was there which says that because of this suppression, the reason of the suppression has not been given. In that case, again, the show cause notice is practically vague or unpractical show cause notice, which is bad in the eyes of the law, and you should be challenging that. So, my dear friend, it's very important that you have to have a heart of a litigation rather than the heart of only a compliance person. Then only you will be able to find out the mistakes. So, when you were reading, when you were small, we were having certain magazines which were saying that please find out the 10 errors in this picture. So, there were 2 pictures available in the small magazine which you have to see. That one picture was there, another picture was there, and they are saying that please match both the pictures and find out the 10 errors. Similarly, when you are reading a show cause notice, when you are reading an order in original, you have to have that kind of a mind that okay, I have to find out, I have to trace out that if there is any ambiguity or the vagueness is there. The second issue which may be there when you are reading the orders can be that the order traveled beyond SCN. Now, what does this mean? I just share you the 2 or 3 examples for here. That, for example, the demand was there under the manpower supply. You argued the case that, okay, no, it's not a manpower supply. The agreement is for the service, not the of the service. Meaning thereby, I deputed the certain person for a housekeeping service, housekeeping activity, the cleaning activity, rather than I am supplying the manpower. So it is the job which I have been outsourced rather than the person. And later on, department content agreed that it is a cleaning service rather than a manpower. And in the order, in the show cause notice, the demand was there under the manpower, but the order says that it is a cleaning service, meaning thereby it is a clear case of an order traveling the beyond the SCN. So there was a demand under section 122, say for example in clause 2, but the order came under section 122 clause 1(5), meaning thereby it is again a case of a that the order is traveling the beyond the show cause notice. There may be a case that the demand was there for only for 1 year, 1819, but the order was there for 1819 and 1920. The demand was there only for 40,000 rupees, but the order came with a 1 lakh rupees confirmation. So all these cases are there when you can contend that this order is traveling beyond the SCN and it is bad in the eyes of the law. But you have to not only say, but you have to also attach certain jurisprudence. As I mentioned you, that you have to substantiate your arguments with certain case laws or certain on judgment of the Honorable High Court, tribunal or something like that, to say that this order or this show cause notice is bad in the eyes of the law. Similarly, the jurisprudence, when we talk about the extended period, you have to substantiate your point along with the certain jurisprudence. Then, my dear friend, in case up to 2022, if there was no pre-show cause notice consultation under section 74(5) was there, then also it is bad in the eyes of the law. So straightway show cause notice issued for the before 2022 was not allowed. Many high courts says that the pre-show cause notice consultation was a process which has to be followed, and if it is not being followed, in that case show cause notice issued directly is bad in the eyes of the law. Similarly, SCN issued without authority of law. One of the honorable superintendent is issuing a show cause notice which is beyond his power. It is in the jurisdiction of a deputy commissioner or the assistant commissioner, but that is being signed by the superintendent. In that case, also the show cause notice is bad in the eyes of the law. Extended period, I have already covered. It's very important, my dear friend, that we also have to have a separate challenge on the grounds for penalty. So when I mentioned you about the capital A, that why the extended period should not be invoked, the capital B should say, please note down, the capital B should say without prejudice to above. Now the assessee wish to submit on the merit as under, meaning thereby I stand with the point A that the extended period should not be invoked. But in case the honorable adjudicating authority or the appellate authority not agreed with my submission, then I am in the point number B submitting my submissions on the point number B under on the merit. It doesn't mean that I am foregoing that argument of a capital A. No, I am continuing with the capital A argument, but for the sake of process being followed, now I am submitting my issues on the merit. And then similarly in the capital C, you have to have a ground for penalty separate altogether. That okay, why the penalty should not be there? There was no mens rea, there was a bona fide mistake and something like that, and you have to see that the penalties are being well argued. Similarly, these penalties, both the penalties cannot be there. The principle of natural justice. For example, the no opportunity of being heard was given. The show cause notice and the non-speaking show cause notice was there, meaning thereby only one pager show cause notice was there. There was no allegation as far as section 73, 74 was there. Even the allegation of a demand was not there. There is no clarity why the demand should be there, or the order is also one pager order. So summary order is being issued. No show cause notice served, order passed. All these points are there, my dear friend, when the principle of natural justice is being violated, and you have to contest this particular aspect vehemently. So you have to see that if you feel that at the level 1 and level 2, you are not getting the relief on these particular points, you may have a writ jurisdiction available with you. So it is not the case that I'm saying that you can directly go to the writ jurisdiction. You may, but I'm just to share with you, because many times the Honorable High Court say, yeah, you have the alternative remedies available, and then you will lose the money of going to the writ jurisdiction at that in that way, and then you will not be able to go after the 2 level of appellate this alternative remedies exhausted. So my dear friend, you may consider to exhaust the alternative remedy first, and then you may have to go to the high courts, giving that the natural justice was not being followed. Then, my dear friend, in case there is a best judgment assessment by the department under section 72, that also you should be contested well. You have to give a complete computation, attach the financial statement along with that, and prove that there was no demand as such is being there. And finally, my dear friend, very importantly, the last capital letter. Say, for example, you have covered the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Then the I capital letter should be there, that the come duty benefit. This particular argument, this particular plea, the prayer should be there in your appeal or whatever the reply you are making. Because at times, when you feel that you are not able to win the case in totality on the merit, at least because you have not collected the money from the receivers, the buyers. So whatever the 100 rupees you have received, because you never collected the money, 18 rupees GST from the buyer, in that case, that 18 rupees should be part of that 100 rupees so collected, meaning thereby the come duty benefit should be made available to you. So that's why, my dear friend, it's very important that you are arguing, you are giving this particular plea in your reply or in your appeal, as the case may be, so that it will not be a case that tomorrow, if you are contesting this come duty benefit at the level of the tribunal or somewhere else, they will say, though you never pleaded before. So how I will be able to take this particular aspect now as a fresh argument by the authorized representative. So, my dear friend, it will be assisting and aiding even to your authorized representative in the times to come, if you are capturing all the relevant point at the lower level. So if you are going to say, for example, you are going to a senior advocate or a senior chartered accountant to argue your case at the higher forum, and he will read that what was the reply submitted at the lower forum, and he will find that only 2-page reply was there with a very small submissions without any giving any particular reason. In that case, it will be very difficult, and the matter practically will get remand back only, rather than that it will be decided by the higher forums, because I will be X or Y will be arguing something else which was not pleaded in the lower forum. So practically, at the best, what we can achieve, that it will be only a remand back issue which will be emerging out from the entire discussion. So, my dear friend, this was there from my side, because I am aware that I have to complete by 5 o'clock, and I should give the time for 5-7 minutes time for the queries as well, so that members can take up the queries in case they have any particular query as far as this particular aspect is there. My dear friend, since I will be sharing my presentation, I have captured many judgments also, which are commonly of nature, which can be used by all of you while making a good reply. So the citation and everything I have attached. So what I will do, that Ajit Bhai ko, I will share the Ajit my presentation, a small, because this presentation is very large, 142 slides. So I will make it concise, maybe a 10 slides or 12 slides presentation, and I will share to Ajit, who will circulate among all the participants who are participating in this particular event as per your convenience. My dear friend, before I sign off, I just wish to share with you that I used to say the 10 mantras of the ITC, which can be a backbone for the entire litigation, because the litigation will be there when there will be the 4th aspect, which I shared with you, that that there was a tax short paid, not paid, RNS refund was there, and finally this as I mentioned you, that either it is a RNS refund is there, or this ITC wrongly availed or utilized. So, my dear friend, when I was mentioning all these points, you are aware that we have to see that the ITC is being properly taken. So, the 10 mantras which I just wish to share with you, the 10 mantras, I will take only 2 minutes time to give you the 10 mantras. If you want to note down, you please note down the 10 mantras which should be there as far as the ITC compliance is there. Number 1, my dear friend, that the credit, whatever you want to take, should be related to your business. Number 2, that the proper invoice, the valid invoice as per section 39 of 2018, you should have a valid invoice available with you. Number 3, that you have received the goods or services. So proper stock register and ITC register is there available to substantiate that you have received the goods or services. Number 4, that the supplier has paid the tax. Number 5, that the return has been filed under section 39. Number 6, that you have paid to the supplier within 180 days from the date of invoice. Number 7, that you have taken the credit by 30th of November in the next financial year for the preceding financial year, all the invoices. Number 8, that if you are dealing in the taxable or exempted activity, then you are taking the credit as per the rule 42, 43, which relates to the input and capital goods. 9, that the block credit has not been taken. And 10, that in case you have taken any capital goods, you are selling off that within the last 5 years of the purchase. In that case, as per section 18, subsection 6, you have to proportionately reverse the credit related to the sale of capital goods. So these 10 points are very, very important points, my dear friend, which you should capture, record, note down, so that whenever you are doing a due diligence as far as the ITC is concerned, they are being well taken care, so that even the litigations will not be happen. So if you will take care of these 10 points, I believe that 50% of the litigation will go, and it will be a happy implementation of the GST, as you are being known as the. So I used to say the chartered accountants are the financial army of the country, and you are actually the synonymous of the GST. So if anybody will say that who is the knowledgeable person in the GST, it is the chartered accountants who are the backbone and the pillar of this GST law. So it's our duty as well, apart from our professional opportunity, that we make very good reply, very effective replies. And as the officer of the court, we have to support the benches and the adjudicating authorities to reach to a very conclusive judgment. So that's our duty as well. So when you are making a good reply, it will support the court benches as well to reach to a conclusion in a very comprehensive way. So, my dear friend, this was all from my side. I just spared 3-4 minutes in case we have any query. Otherwise, maybe the concluding remarks by Pawanji or our Agarwal Saab, Gupta ji, or anybody else is there. Over to you, Pawanji.
Thank you, Atul Gupta ji. There are some questions. If you, I tell you.
I am not able to see the questions, sir.
I'm speaking. How to deal with notices received for differences in GSTR 7, TDS or TCS credit received, and GSTR 2A, 2B, GSTR 3B input credit. Government agency.
So you have to prepare a reconciliation statement, sir, like a bank reconciliation statement. I will just make the question concise rather than making
the question of participant.
So Pawanji,
yes,
Pawanji.
Question of participant is that the taxpayer is showing the invoice in the month in which he raises the invoice, and department is deducting.
Hardly matter, sir. So Pawanji, I am just sharing with you that there was a judgment of the Honorable High Court which says that, for example, there is a requirement that the supplier has paid the tax. So it is not a case that the supplier has paid the tax in the same month. Even if the supplier has paid the tax after 3 months or 6 months, the buyer is eligible to claim the credit. It is the judgment by the Honorable High Courts. So, my dear friends, as it is there in the case of this GSTR 7 versus GSTR 2A, 2B as well, that in case it is being paid belatedly by any of the service provider or the recipient, as the case may be, I'm not touching upon. So you have a full right. The only point is that you have to prepare a good reconciliation statement, submit to the adjudicating authority. Even if you will not get the relief at the lower level, you will get the relief at the higher level. So be prepared, well prepared, and contest your case.
Thank you. Another question is retrospective cancellation of suppliers registration by GST department. Genuine purchase made during the period when the registration was effective. Goods actually supplied. So cause notice comes from department disallowing ITC just because the registration of supplier was.
So, sir, there are various judgment of Hina Medicals, Suncraft, Ecom Gill. There are many judgments are there from the Honorable High Courts and Supreme Court that straightway you cannot reject or deny the credit of the buyer. You have to see, number one, that the supplier is available or not, and the department first duty is to recover the money from the supplier if the supplier has not paid. Number two, that in the secondly, they have to see that whether the transaction was a bona fide transaction or not. If there is any collusion between the buyer and seller, then only the credit should be reversed. Credit should be forced to get reversed by the buyer. Otherwise, if the buyer is able to prove that there was a genuine transaction, bona fide transaction, the tax was. So even Pawanji, I can tell you that, say for example, you purchased in 2020, the registration got cancelled in 2025 with effect from 2017. So how you can say that the 2020 tax was not paid? At that point of time, he was complying with all the provisions. He was filing his annual return also. You are getting your reflection is in the 8A as well. And you are responsible for at the L1 level, not for the L2 or L3 level. So all these things should be argued well by our friends who are listening this program. I am not saying that you will get the relief at the first level or a second level, but it is important that you contest your case well. Not only with the corroborative evidences, but also with the various judgments, jurisprudence.
Your time permit, I 2-3 questions more.
Yeah, sir. As per the Manoj sir, like and Ajit bhai is comfortable.
One is input as credit utilized in 3P, but did not claim against any output. Since there is no output tax, is there any need to reverse it back?
No, sir. There are. I could not connect the question, but I can give you the answer both sides. So if you have claimed, you have availed certain credit, but you have not utilized the same, and if you feel that you want to get a refund of that, refund of the same, the answer is no. You will not get any refund. You can carry forward for many years. So it's not a case that you have to utilize immediately by November of the next financial year. So it's not a case. Utilization has no time limit. Only the availment has a time limit, not the utilization. Number 3, that in case the department is alleging that you have wrongly availed certain credit. So now if you have not utilized the same, then only the liability will be to reverse the wrongful availment of the credit. No interest, no penalty will be there. So I answered all the 3 possibilities, Pawanji. Though question was not clear, but I covered all the 3 possibilities of the question.
Sir. So one more question is that GST audit of assessee was concluded and ADT 2 was issued by the assessing officer. Also DRC 01 was issued showing the amounts to be paid by the assessee on different counts. The assessee paid these dues as mentioned in DRC 01 along with interest, but payment was made under protest. The AO disagreed the payment and under protest and did not issue form DRC 07. Instead, the AO issued closure in form DRC 05. Now the assessee, as it had paid the amount under protest, wants to file an appeal, but the GST portal is not showing drop down for filing appeal. In such a situation, any remedy available to enable the assessee to file appeal in?
Pawanji, it's that the drop down menu, it is not getting reflected. Somebody has to approach maybe like a department, or if somebody will WhatsApp me, I can see that what is the actual issue involved. But just to share you that since I'm not handling the this returns and other this drop down menu and the GST and aspect, so I will not be able to help initially. But in case some member has a query, they may approach, maybe WhatsApp me. I will try to help if that is under my abilities are there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so many. Thanks for wonderful delivering the lecture on how to draft reply of notices. And a large number of participants will be benefited by this seminar. Thank you once again to Atulji and all the members present on the panel and all the participants. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
Thank you. So now I am introducing Manoj Fadnis ji. Namaste, sir.
Namaste, Pawanji. Namaste, Atulji. And very excellent presentation by you, Atul bhai. I really enjoyed the same.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, now I'm
Good evening, sir.
Introducing CA Fadnis ji, past president of ICI. He is the past president of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and also the past president Confederation of Asian and Pacific Accountants, CAPA, a regional international organization of 32 professional institutes from 23 countries from Asia and Pacific region. In February 2025, he has been nominated by Honorable Supreme Court of India on an ad hoc committee to manage the affairs of an educational institution having nearly 2,000 students. He was elected as president of ICI New Delhi for the year 2015 to 16 and as vice president of ICI for 2014 to 15. He was also non-executive director of Insurance and Regulatory Development Authority of India, member of National Direct Taxes Advisory Committee of the Central Board of Advisory Committee. On 8th November 2017, he has been elected as the President of Confederation Asian and Pacific Accountants. For term of 2 years, he has been nominated on B20 for the year 2018. B20 is business group formed by G20 based on Buenos Aires, Argentina. Presently, he is an independent director on the board of Federal Bank and serves as the chairman of the Audit Committee. He was also nominated by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India, as director on board of two companies during 2019 and 2012. He was a non-executive chairman of MP Stock Exchange Limited from 2012 to 2014 and was nominated by State Bank of India as a director on the board of State Bank of India, Indore, from 2002 to 2005. Sir qualified as a chartered accountant in January 1987 and holds a diploma in DISA Information System Audit. He specializes in corporate accounting and reporting standard and direct taxes, corporate laws, and Foreign Exchange Management Act. He has also presented more than 1,000 technical papers in seminars and conferences within India and internationally. Thank you, sir. I hand over mic to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Pavanji. As I said earlier, it was a pleasure to hear Atul Bhai speaking on how to reply to GST notices and many wonderful tips with respect to drafting and how to be concise and still reply to all the issues on merits. He has very elaborately covered. My greetings to you, Atul Bhai. As usual, as I said, it is a pleasure to hear you and to learn from you with respect to the ever-changing complicated law on the GST. So friends, with that wonderful presentation on GST, I come back to a subject which is assigned to me is with respect to audit quality and how we ensure the continuous enhancement in the audit quality. Audit is, as we say, audit is audit is audit. Whether it is an audit of a large listed entity or it is an audit of a charitable institution or an educational institution, no audit is small. It may be complex audit and as we say, audit of less complex entities. But even if it is an audit of a less complex entities, it is still important audit. It is a professional assignment which is which goes to the base of a profession, and therefore I feel that every audit, whichever audit we do, is important, and we need to ensure that the it is done with all due care and competence and with all the importance that it deserves. I would be speaking on this subject for next 40 to 45 minutes, and I'll be very happy to answer if there are any questions which our friends may have. But essentially, this is more of a discussion, some of the best practices, what we can think about. Some of the best practices that one can think about in terms of improving the quality of the audit. There is, as we say, quality and excellence is not a destination. It is a process. It is a journey. So one can never say that I have achieved the best quality which is required, because even if you have done your best, there is always something better that can be done. And excellence has no end. So while I acknowledge that majority of us, and I would say maybe 95% of us, are very serious about the audit that we do. And I always believe that 99% of the audit reports have, or 99% of the occasions have the best of the qualities. What is required is to still go one step more and try and do something better. It is in that background that some of the latest developments, some of the changes, and some of the initiatives which the Institute has taken from time to time that I endeavor to discuss. I'm thankful to the chairman of the CPA committee and a very esteemed friend of mine, Honorable Council Member Shri Satish Gupta ji, who has chosen this topic on enhancing the audit quality. Friends, our institute, our council, our honorable president, vice president are seized with the issue of seeing that the best quality is reflected in the work we do. I recall during the time when I was president of the institute, there was at sometimes a feeling between some of the people at high levels, at official levels, who believed that the tax audits are only chartered accountants doing tax audits. They are having so much of work, and because of that, the they are unable to carry out the audits, and therefore the institute comes and requests the Central Board of Direct Taxes to extend the due date for filing of the tax audit reports. Now, while that is, even those days, it was not the right perception, and it was a task which the institute was carrying out to tell the government and the regulators that this is not the truth. The members are carrying out their audit to the best of their aspects, and it is the businessmen who have difficulties in complying with the requirements of the audits, which leads to the delay in completion of the audit during the prescribed time period. Now, be that as may, it is one of the very good things that the institute itself does not nowadays, for last few years, take up this and goes to the government to for extension of due dates, and we find the government itself realizing the difficulty is extending the due date. Now, what point I wish to make out here is, and a very practical aspect which I may state, that the due date for filing of tax returns, which is extended from 31st July to September 15th, will clash with the time when we are busy with the tax audits. And it is bound to lead to a situation where there would be returns of salaried people uh, or smaller entities, and at the same time, we are carrying out the tax audits. So, advanced preparation is something which is always helpful in ensuring good quality. And that is what I propose to do in this presentation, talk some of the best practices, what we can do to ensure that as and when we carry out the audit meets the requirements which the society, which the institute has in mind, and what is laid down through the standards on auditing and the other documents which the institute releases from time to time, coupled with the fact that there is always an enhanced expectations from the society about what is an audit. Now, friends, when we talk about quality, as I said earlier, quality is no end by itself. It is a beginning of a situation where we need to be carrying out the audits and ensuring that the quality is maintained. There is no end to the quality. It becomes something as a process which we need to be doing from time to time. And it is our endeavor to see that while we say the financial statements show true and fair view, we don't say that they show true and correct view. And very rightly so, we say the financial statements show a true and fair view. Now, you will appreciate that there is no law in which what is true and fair is defined. Neither the Companies Act, nor the Income Tax Act, nor any other law which comes to my mind defines what is true and fair. And therefore it is a audit report when we say that the audit opinion states that the financial statements show a true and fair view. It is essentially the financial statements are drawn up in accordance with the applicable accounting standards, and that is how the mandate for implementation of the accounting standards comes in. It is an obligation on the part of the auditor to ensure that the financial statements contain the financial statements are prepared and presented in accordance with the applicable accounting standards. And if that be so, then only one can say that the balance sheet shows a true and fair view. The statement of profit and loss shows the true position of the profit or loss for that particular year. So compliance with the accounting standard leads to a situation that what we say is that the risk of material misstatement is eliminated. Now, while the risk would always exist, the compliance with the auditing standards ensures that the risk is minimized. The tolerance levels are, the risk is within a, as we say, within a band of a tolerance levels. And the whole purpose of ensuring audit quality and our endeavor to see that the quality of the audit is enhanced is to ensure that this risk of material misstatement is always minimized and it is as low as possible as it can be. So while there can be business failures in a capital market economy, there would be companies which will come out with public issues, will come out with IPOs, and large number of investors may subscribe to those issues. And unfortunately, some of them will not be able to carry out their business and they may go bankrupt. So business failures are bound to take place in a capital market economy. However, audit failure is what is not acceptable. And it is therefore our bounden duty to see that the quality of the audit is enhanced at all times. And we keep in mind that the audit is a tri-party relationship. The audit is a contract between the auditor and the auditee. The auditee, in a way, appoints the auditor. The auditor carries out his audit on the financial statements prepared by the auditee, issues an audit report, which is then relied upon by the stakeholders. So while these third party stakeholders are not party to the contract between the auditor and auditee, the entire output, that is the audited financial statements and the audit report thereon, are for the benefit of the stakeholders. So the stakeholders could be government, the stakeholders could be shareholders, could be employees, could be your creditors, could be banks, could be anyone. Though they are not party to the audit, to the contract between the auditor and auditee, the entire purpose of the audit is to enhance the confidence which the stakeholders have in the audited financial statements. So, as we say, customer is the king. It's very commonly said the customer is the king, and customer delight is what we need to look at. Now, what is important to understand is who is the customer? Who is my customer? If I'm the auditor, is my customer the auditee? Or is my customer those people who are relying on the financial statements audited by me? And so long as we keep in mind that my customer is those stakeholders who are going to rely on my financial statements, who are going to believe in the audit report issued by the auditor, and as long as I keep that in mind and I keep in mind the customer delight, that is to ensure the confidence which the stakeholders have in the audited financial statements, that is what is the mantra for the auditors. And that is what the institute is always trying to see that the quality of the audit keeps on improving, so that the confidence which the society has with respect to the audited financial statement, that confidence is continuously enhanced. Now, friends, in this background, as we move forward in this discussion on audit quality, let us understand, as I said earlier, what is it that we mean by audit quality. So one of the meanings to the audit quality is to ensure that the risk of material misstatement is minimized. Now, what is a material misstatement? And now I did not go into details of the standards on auditing, but as all of us are aware, we have a standard on sampling, we have a standard on how we carry out the various audits, various aspects of the audit, and how we report on the audit. So there is a planning stage, there is an execution stage, and there is a reporting stage. Now, in all this context, it is these standards on auditing which are the ultimate defense for an auditor. So, have we selected the right sample? Have we done a proper risk assessment? Have we planned the audit properly? What is the areas on risk assessment that we have seen, and how is our audit program designed to keep that risk assessment in mind. Now, friends, those of us and majority of us would be carrying out the tax audits. Now, in a tax audit, as we know, there is a large details which are required to be verified and reported with respect to deduction of tax at source. And deduction of tax at source, if not deducted properly, would also result in disallowance of certain expenditure as provided under the relevant sections of the Income Tax Act. Now, does it mean that as an auditor, I am supposed to verify each and every transaction? Now, while there may be audit tools which could help me to verify 100% of the population, the auditing standards gives me the ability to select a sample and test the controls, and then test the and carry out the substantive verification with respect to those population, the sample which I have selected from that population. Now, friends, I should have first identified what is my risk in carrying out the audit, and then designed a suitable audit program to carry out the verification of those risk areas. And if I have done that properly and appropriately, I am sure to have a result which would give me an ability to take a decision, to make an objective decision as to whether or not there has been a proper compliance with respect to uh, the particular aspect relating to deduction of tax at source and the consequential disallowances under the respective section 40A1 of the Income Tax Act. Now, what it really helps me to understand as an auditor is how I select a sample, how I design an audit program, and how I actually carry out the audit, and ultimately how I actually document that audit. Now, if I have done all of these in accordance with the applicable auditing standards, while I'm not verifying 100% of the population, but if I have verified a significant size of the sample basis my risk assessment, I am in a position to ensure, as an auditor, a reduction in the material mistake and bring it to a level which could be within an acceptable tolerance levels. So the standards on auditing, compliance with the standards on auditing are meant to give the confidence to the auditors that and give the ability to the auditors to carry out the audit in a limited time period. Now, friends, we have these standards which are so very important, like, for instance, balance confirmations. Now, it is essential that we confirm the balances, the bank balances, the party balances, assets, the current assets, the trade receivables as appearing in the balance sheet, so that the assets are reflected at their net realizable value. So if I say there is a stock there is a certain amount of stock in the balance sheet, and if that inventory with that enterprise is a significant amount in relation to the total assets, I am giving out an assurance to the stakeholders, to the society at large, with respect to that inventory being with that enterprise as at 31st of March of the respective financial years. And therefore, I in a way, assure the stakeholders, the bankers, the government authorities, and others that this is the realizable value of the inventory, which is which has been which physically exists, and the valuation of that is carried out in accordance with the applicable AS2 or Ind AS2 as may be the case. Now, friends, we have a standard in auditing which puts an obligation on the auditor to ensure to carry out the physical verification of the inventory. Now, take the case of a non-corporate entity, and if that non-corporate entity appoints the auditor, say in the month of June or July 2025, some of us may wonder as to how then I carry out the physical verification, because I was not the auditor as on the balance sheet date. I have been appointed much after the end of the balance sheet date, and I'm certifying the financial statements for a period which is already gone by. Now, friends, even if I was not an auditor on 31st of March and I've been appointed, say, today in the middle of the month of June 2025, I can still verify the inventory as of today's date and then carry out the rollback procedures up to 31st of March and thereby verify that if this was the inventory as on 15th June, add what has been sold and deduct what has been, add what has been sold and deduct what has been purchased between the 31st of March and today's date, and thereby arrive at the stock which should have been there as on 31st of March. So with these additional procedures, if required, can it is still possible to verify the physical existence of the inventory as of that date. And similarly, with respect to trade receivables, it is essential that there is a balance confirmation procedures which should be carried out. Now, these are some of the aspects which are important to be borne in mind, because when we say the balance sheet shows a true and a fair view, we are giving an assurance that the receivables are stated at a price at which they are realizable. Now, if for some reasons some of the receivables are not realizable or are outstanding for a long period of time, there are litigations going on, or even if there are not no litigations going on, we find that those receivables are outstanding much beyond their normal credit period. Then it is important that there should be a provision for bad and doubtful debts which should be made in the books of accounts. Most of the non-corporate entities and most of the companies covered under accounting standards framework are not making the adequate provisions for bad and doubtful debts. And as auditors, we are certifying those financial statements, and therefore we are also responsible if those financial statements contain a material misstatement. One of the reasons why many of the non-corporate entities or smaller companies do not make provision for bad and doubtful debts is obviously because this provision for bad and doubtful debts is not deductible for the purposes of income tax computation. So most of the enterprises are happy to, rather than make a provision, ultimately when it becomes bad and doubtful debts, to write off that bad and doubtful debts from the books of accounts, but not make a provision during the life when it was being carried in the books of accounts as a trade receivable. Now, there lies the responsibility of the auditor, because the audit done in accordance with standards on auditing would require the auditor to find out if that trade receivable, to get a confirmation from the debtor whether that party agrees to the amount which is receivable shown in the books of my auditing. And in case we find that the debtor is not even confirming the balance, is not even making the payment on the due dates, then it is showing all the signs of a account which is a sticky account where the receivables are not due and receivable. And therefore, it becomes a duty of the auditor to see that these are the amounts which need to be provided for, irrespective of the fact whether they are receivable or whether they are tax deductible or not deductible. So I would insist that these are two few areas which are applicable in case of majority of the enterprises, where we should give a proper focus upon verification, physical verification of inventories, and confirmation of trade receivables and other current assets appearing in the balance sheet. If these are done properly, it will give a great uh, value addition also to the owner of the enterprise, for the reason that it brings to the forefront some of the areas which are not coming out clearly from his financial statements, and the owner himself will become more aware of those weak areas which lie in his businesses. Now, there are number of things which, as a auditor even of a non-corporate entity or a smaller limited companies, where one can render a lot of value addition to the clients just by ensuring proper compliances with the relevant auditing standards and ensuring proper compliances with the accounting standards. Take, for instance, the accounting standard 15, AS 15, which mandates provisions for long term post employment liabilities. Now, we know that any enterprise which has a certain number of people as applicable has a liability to pay gratuity. The liability to gratuity becomes applicable once a person has served for a period of 5 years or more than 5 years. I'm sure if this aspect is emphasized and brought to the notice of the owners of the enterprises, they would realize that yes, if I have certain number of people working with me, today they may have worked for 2 years, 3 years, less than 5 years, but some of them will continue to work with me for more than 5 years, and therefore I would have a liability of a gratuity payment to be made to them, which may fall on my heads on one fine day when that person retires or leaves my organization. And that large payment on a particular date may have a significant amount of cash outflows, which the business may not be able to sustain. And therefore, if proper provisioning for in accordance with AS 15 is made, even if it is not invested by way of, say, taking proper insurance policies, the fact that proper provision is made in the financial statements actually strengthens the financial statements. It is a great service to that business entity by ensuring that the financial statements are made more robust. The owner of the enterprise may not realize it immediately, but this is something what we need to communicate to them. How we are adding value to their businesses by ensuring that their financial statements become more robust. And these are simple things which could be done by ensuring compliances with the applicable accounting standards and the auditing standards. Now, one of the key aspects which is insisted upon under the standards on auditing is to ensure proper documentation. Many a times it comes to the forefront that while the audit is being done in accordance with the auditing standards, a lot of time is spent, a lot of energy and attention is given to the requisite aspects. But somehow in the flow of the work, it does not get documented the way it is envisaged for documentation. Now, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the Auditing and Assurance Standard Board, has come out with a very wonderful guide. It is not a guidance note, it is a technical guide as with respect to documentation in respect of less complex entities. Today, the discussion which is going on is audit of public interest entities and audit of less complex entities. Less complex entities did not mean small entities only, and complex entities did not mean only large entities. So the division is between public interest entities and less complex entities. While audit is audit, as I said earlier, the fact remains that in case of a complex entities or larger listed entities, public interest entities, much more audit is required to be carried out and much more documentation is required to be carried out, which may not be so much required in so much of detailed procedures where it is an audit of a less complex entities. And therefore, in case of less complex entities and small and medium entities, the AASB, the Auditing and Assurance Standards Board of our institute, has brought out a wonderful guidance in form of a technical guide as to the documentation which is envisaged to be done. And I think by using those templates, by using those standard checklists, it would be very easy to make a better compliance of the requirements of the auditing standards. So there are checklists which are available as issued by the institute to ensure compliance with the accounting standards, checklists which are issued for ensuring compliance with the auditing standards, for CARO requirements, for company law requirements. And if all these checklists are properly filled up, it would give it would certainly give a very qualitative audit which would be carried out. I can do a bigger audit in a smaller time with limited resources by ensuring standardization of my process and by using certain standardized checklists which are issued by the institute. If I have ensured compliance with the applicable accounting standards, if I have ensured compliances with the applicable requirements of the Companies Act, and if it is a tax audit of a non-corporate entity, if I have ensured compliances as are required for under Form 3CB, and if I have documented it, invariably it would be an audit where the risk of material statement has been reduced to a tolerable level. And while that there may be misstatements, but it may not be material misstatements. So, what is the key aspects of the key aspects or objectives of uh, audit quality, and our objective to enhance the audit quality, as I said, is to keep on reducing the risk of material misstatement. And therefore, we always say that the financial statements show a true and fair view and not true and correct view. So the risk of material statement has to be reduced, and it can be reduced by ensuring compliances with the standards on auditing. Now, friends, as we talk about audit quality, and it is important to note that while we have standards on quality controls, SQC. Now, SQC is being replaced by SQM. SQM is a standard quality management, and it is SQM1 and SQM2. Now, SQM1 and 2 are expected to become applicable from 1st of April 2026, that is from the next year onwards. It is the time that we try and adopt these two standards, which are already in the public domain, even from the current financial year. So, if we apply them from the current financial year, as and when they become applicable in the next year, it would be easier to ensure compliance with them. And for a moment, let us assume that whether they are applicable, they are mandatory, or they are not mandatory, they are always the best practices which we should follow, and the best practices should be enshrined as soon as possible. Why wait for it to be made mandatory? If I can improve my audit quality even this year by ensuring compliances with more technical literature, that is what we should be trying to aspire for. Now, SQM1 is how we are the various principles which require to be complied with, which is already there in the SQC as of today. SQM2, in addition to that, lays out a detailed procedure for quality engagement reviews before an audit is signed off. Now, audit is also a process. There is while complying with the relevant auditing standards, we are complying with a particular process. Now, to ensure that the process has been carried out properly, we have a quality review. So, as in case of a manufacturing entity, when a product is being manufactured, before it is sold off, there is a quality control procedure which is carried out. And the objective of the quality control procedure is to ensure that there are no rejections, there are no defects in the product which is ultimately sold off. Now, the same logic is also applied in context of services. The logic is that before I issue an audit opinion to the world at large, there has to be an internal quality control procedure whereby my financial statements have been what audit I have done. That process is reviewed by a third person, and by doing so, I ensure that when I hold out to the public at large, that this is an audit opinion which shows true and fair view of the financial statements, the quality is maintained. Now, friends, some of us may wonder that while in a larger audit firm, it is possible to have many partners, and some of the partners may be designated with the responsibility of engagement quality reviews. How does it happen in a small partnership firm of two partners or three partners, and maybe the partners are located in different cities, or there is, let us take the case of a proprietor. So what happens in case of a proprietor? How does a proprietor ensure that there is another person who can come and review the audit process before the audit report is signed off? Now, friends, our institute has, considering the fact that we have large number of sole proprietary firms, we have large number of firms with maybe two or three partners. Today, the statistics reveals that there are around 150,000 for chartered accountants with certificate of practice. Out of 150,000, I was told very recently that only around 102,000 chartered accountants actually carry out the attest function. Thanks to this UDIN, which has the concept of UDIN, which has been brought in by the institute, a lot of data is now available with the institute, and the latest data reveals that 102,000 the chartered accountants carry out the audit. Now, out of 102,000, a large significant portion of these chartered accountants are practicing as sole proprietors. Now, what the institute has done is that if I am practicing as a sole proprietor, I can engage another person. He may be any other chartered accountant. I, I will engage another chartered accountant and I will allow him to review my work. So, engagement quality review partner does not really mean a partner in the sense of a partner under the partnership law. It actually only indicates that there is another chartered accountant who is there who would review my work. So that is how the quality is to be maintained. So if I'm a proprietor, I can still comply with SQM and SQ2 by ensuring that I engage another chartered accountant who is not my partner, but whom I trust, whom I believe, and in whom I have the confidence that he would come and point out my errors, if any, and ensure that my final audit report is in accordance with the applicable requirements of the auditing standards. Now, what this also requires is that when the engagement letter is exchanged with the auditee, I inform the auditee that I would be engaging another chartered accountant as a quality review partner in terms of SQC or as it stands today, or SQM 1 and 2 as and when they become applicable. So I inform the auditee, I take the consent of the auditee in terms of my auditee signing those engagement letters, and thereby I have communicated to the auditee, I have obtained the auditee's consent, and thereby I engage another review partner who carries out the review of those financial statements and the audit that I have done. So the institute has ensured that while global practices are followed by us in the audit profession, they are still responsive to the needs of the small and medium practitioners in the practical sense. So SQC1 as it stands today and SQM1 and 2 as and when they become applicable are very important measures which we should take seriously to ensure enhancement in the audit qualities. Now we have one of the very important developments is a new forum created by the institute in terms of audit quality center. I would request members to visit the website of AQC, and you will find so many checklists which are available there. AQC and the AASB came out with checklists during the audit of banks, and to see that the bank audits are done in a proper manner. Practical questions were being answered and practical issues were being addressed. There was a group of experts who were made available who could answer the specific audit queries being raised by members. So all these aspects were with keeping in mind the practical realities, helping the members and helping the members to ensure better and proper audit quality. Now, AQC has brought out checklists as to how to compute, let us say, the materiality levels. In all our audit reports, in all our dealings, we say the accounting policies are to be applied to material items. accounting policies are to be applied, or the financial statements are in compliance with the material aspects. As I said earlier, the whole purpose is to reduce the risk of material misstatement. Now, ultimately, the question comes: what is material? And we know that what is material would change and vary from case to case, from auditee to auditee. It is not that you can define the materiality at a particular number. So the standards on auditing on materiality gives us the benchmarks as to how to compute the materiality. And AQC has brought out a very useful Excel sheet which could help you to determine what should be the materiality level in context of the audit that you are doing. So broadly, there are three aspects which require to be kept in mind. It could be materiality could be decided either on the basis of turnover, the materiality could be decided, or second is on the basis of the profitability, and the third could be with respect to the quantum of investments in, let us say, fixed assets, property, plant, and equipment, as we call them. Now, generally, in an industry or a business which is running for several years and which has a steady profitability levels over a period of time, the materiality can be computed on the basis of profitability. So what is done is you take the overall materiality, let us say, at the rate of 5% of profit before taxes. So if my profit is, say, 10 crores, I would say 5% is 50 lakhs is the overall materiality. And depending on the risk assessment, I might say that 60% of that is my performance materiality. So 50 lakhs is the overall materiality, and 60% of that is 30 lakhs uh, is the performance materiality. And below that, I would be then looking at items which are to be carried out with respect to, let us say, if there are any errors or there are mistakes, I can say that they are below the materiality levels. So if the profit is 10 crores and there is a non-deduction of tax at source in a particular case, and if that is resulting in a disallowance of, let us say, of an amount which is less than uh, my total materiality level of 30 lakhs, I can very confidently say that as per my standards on materiality, my this error which I have noticed is below the materiality level and I have not reported it. So that is the utility of ensuring what is the materiality. But of course, what is important is that the materiality levels should be computed, it should be documented, and there should be effective documentation of the fact that they have been applied during the course of the audit. Now, this website of AQC, I would recommend that we should use it very extensively. It would help us to know what is material in the context of the audit that I'm doing, what is not material, and what is the aggregation of the unrectified mistakes, if any. If they are not crossing my overall performance materiality of, say, 30 lakhs in the case that I mentioned, then I would be well within my rights to believe that my audit is within the acceptable, the material misstatements are within the acceptable, there is no material misstatement, and the misstatements are within my acceptable tolerance levels. So AQC is one of the very good developments which has happened in recent past. We have a number of documents which are freely available on the institute's websites, either in the form of guidance notes, in the form of templates issued by different committees from time to time, which can be very effectively used and ensuring proper compliance with the auditing standards. And while we ensure compliance with the auditing standards, we should also be mindful of the ethical requirements. Now, Ethical Standards Board, which takes care of the code of ethics and which has mandated certain things which we should be mindful of. One of the aspects which I would like to highlight is the fact that if for 2 consecutive years the fees from a particular entity, if it exceeds if it exceeds 40%, if I remember correctly, it was in case of non-public interest entities, it is 40% of my total fees, then I am required to inform the Ethical Standards Board. Earlier, the self-regulation which the council had imposed was that if my fees exceeds 40% of my total fees, then I cannot accept that audit. Internationally, it is if the fees from a particular client exceeds a particular level of say 20%, then you are required to inform the audit committee or those charged with governance of that entity the fact that your audit fees has exceeded a particular threshold from a particular entity, and you can carry out the audit subject to the fact that you have brought it to the notice of those charged with governance. Our institute has gone one step further. It does not require you to report this fact to the auditing. The, the reality would be that in our country, the reality would be the moment I go and tell a managing director of a private limited company that, sir, I'm happy to inform you that my fees from your organization is 50% of the total fees. More likely than not, they will reduce my fees because they realize that this auditor is being dependent on them. So what the institute has done is, and I don't mean any disrespect to any industry, but that is the general business conditions in which the business operates. So what the institute has done is that you need to report it to the Ethical Standards Board. And Ethical Standards Board would then trigger a situation that, okay, if your fees is more than a particular level from a particular client, there is no difficulty. All you need to do is to demonstrate that you have carried out that audit in accordance with the acceptable technical literature. So, in all probability, they may ask for a peer review to be carried out for that particular file if it so happens. And if you can demonstrate that I have carried out my audit in accordance with the auditing standards, and even if your fees exceeds the threshold limits, there is no difficulty. So end of the day, what is important is not the fees that you have received, but the fact whether you have complied with the technical qualitative norms or not. And to the extent you have ensured compliance with the technical norms, there is no difficulty with respect to the fees that the firm enjoys. So there are various guidance tools and other literature available on the institute's website, and we should ensure that we should make the best use of all these literatures and see that our audit is done properly. Now, one of the very useful information or literature which is available is from the Financial Reporting Review Board, which has looked at the financial statements mostly in context of the listed companies and has brought out various non-compliances as appearing in those financial statements. So there are publications made available by FRRB, which should be looked into. Particularly if you're auditing a listed entity, you will be very happy to see the kind of observations which are there in FRRB, which may not be there in your audit, but which gives a very good guidance as to what is expected, what is the requirement of a particular standard, and what has been the commonly found mistakes with respect to compliance of that standards. So, by ensuring compliance with what has been pointed out by FRRB, we'll be ensuring a higher level of compliance in the audit that we are carrying out. And in fact, the financial statements will show a better true and fair view than what it could be with some of these mistakes are also found in the financial statements audited by us. Now, I need not emphasize on what could be the consequences of poor audit quality. It is something which is less talked about. Better it is, but let us bear in mind that not only are there legal consequences, but most important for a professional is the reputational problems. The reputational issues are, to my mind, and I'm sure to the majority of us, the loss of money is something which we can withstand. There is always money to be earned today or tomorrow or as we carry out the work. But reputation once lost cannot be redeemed very easily. So the reputational loss to my mind is the biggest consequence of poor audit quality, besides the other legal issues which it can lead to. Now, the various audit tools which are available, I understand they are expensive. I take note of that. But I would still recommend that we should try and increase our investments in the audit tools. There is no denying that. If by chance we are auditing also the public interest entities, we are auditors for banks, insurance companies, or we are auditing other listed entities, these are all public interest entities. These are entities in which the money of the public at large has been invested. And therefore, there is a higher responsibility on us to carry out all efforts to ensure that the audit quality is maintained properly and in right spirit. So, in context of public interest entities, it is desirable, though it is difficult, I understand, but it is desirable, and the objective should be that we use the best of the audit tools which are available to see that the samples that we select, the documentation that we carry out, the audit procedures that we carry out are strictly in accordance with the applicable standards. And I'm sure, friends, the more we spend our time and energy and the money and resources on improving the audit quality, the quality of the financial statements will speak for themselves. And those will bring better credibility to the auditee itself and not only enhance the reputation of the auditors. One of the very important developments which took place several years ago is this peer review. And peer review is to be carried out not because it is mandatory, but I would suggest peer review should be carried out because who else other than my friend can come and tell me what mistakes I'm doing. If I am carrying out certain activities in a particular manner, and in that process if there are some errors coming up, invariably it may be so that I may not realize that these I'm making these mistakes unless somebody else points out to me. So peer review should be done not because it is being made mandatory by the institute, but peer review should be carried out more because it is a requirement, it is a need of the day, and it is only to my benefit. If I should carry out a peer review not just because I want a peer review certificate as mandated by the institute, but for the fact that this will help me to improve my audit quality, and this will help me to uh, carry out the audit in a lesser period of time and with better qualitative output. And while selecting a peer reviewer, I would suggest you should always look at a person whom you believe is better than you in carrying out the audit documentation and carrying out the audits. Look at someone who is maybe younger to you, but whom you should believe is good in audit and will help you in improving the quality of your audit. With that objective, one should look at the peer review. Then we have this audit quality maturity model. This is something, again, a very good development brought in by the Institute. How do I ensure that my audit quality has improved? So there are different levels which have been pointed out. And it should be our endeavor to see that how we benchmark ourselves with the best standards and how we are in a position to go from one level to the next level. So, as I said, audit quality is a continuous process. Improvement in quality of the audit is a continuous process. So, we should always be trying to see that we carry out the audit and use this audit quality maturity models to enhance the audit quality. Finally, friends, as I said, there are certain non-compliances which are observed, and the common non-compliances have been listed out by quality review boards, by financial review reporting boards, and it would be good to go through those reports to see what is applicable in your case, in our individual cases, and thereby try and improve in those areas. I have tried to list out some of the commonly observed non-compliances in my presentation. Ajitji, I think I may not have the time to discuss each one of them, and these are only a few in any case. So I would stop at this point of time, and if there are queries, I'd be very happy to answer. But this is more of a discussion. It is only sharing the best practices. I would only encourage Pavanji, all our members, to see that we go to the next level. And as we say, there is always scope to do something better than what we have been doing today or as of present. So let us use all those facilities which are available on the institute's website. And believe me, friends, you go to any other institute worldwide, you will find a lot of information is there, but it is not freely available. You have to pay for it to download it. And our institute is possibly the only institute in the world which provides so much of information free of cost, not only to its members, to any person. Any person can go to the institute's website and download that material. Many a times people ask me, I want to read on Ind AS. Now, where should I start reading Ind AS? Which book should I refer to for reading Ind AS? And generally, I tell them, go to the institute's website, go to the Board of Studies knowledge portal, download the study material which is there for final CA. You will get the best material and you will be amazed at the good quality which is brought out by the institute's Board of Studies study material, and the lucid manner in which each complicated standard is explained is so easy to understand. So let us all endeavor to make the best use of the tools and guidance available with the institute and collectively work to improve our audit qualities. Finally, we must always remember that the reputation of the institute is important, but the reputation of institute is the sum total of the work done by all of us. If all of us do our work well, the society at large will say, oh, the Institute of Chartered Accountants, their members, they are doing great audits. But when some of us don't do the work as expected to be, and some of the members indulge in some unfair practices, it brings disrepute to all of us. And therefore, our objective is that when we carry out an audit is not a big audit or a small audit. Every audit is an audit. It requires the same degree of expertise and resources and time and focus and attention. And I think we should all do that. Thank you very much, Pavanji. I'm thankful to the CP committee for giving me this opportunity. It is nice to interact on this subject. I'll be too happy to answer any questions, if any, at this point of time. Over to you, Pavanji.
Thank you, Manoj sir. Very much thank you for your excellent presentation. Everybody liked this presentation, and more than 1,000 participants are attending this webinar. Many thanks to you, sir. 2-3 queries are there. Audit quality depends upon audit assignment, but professional expertism also plays a vital role. How an audit quality can be improved with reference to professional expertism.
So that is very important. Professional skepticism is one of the important aspects in audit. As we say, what is professional skepticism is to be alert, to be aware of, and to ensure to keep your eyes and ears open, so to say. Now, let me give you a very small example. Audit, and particularly audits of larger entities, should not be carried out from your own office. It is important that the auditor should be visiting the auditee. The auditor should be discussing matters with the staff of the auditee and being generally present when the audit is being done. See, for consultancy work or for taxation work, I would normally sit in my office. I would not go to my client's office. But that mindset will not work if I'm an auditor. If I'm an auditor, I should visit the auditee's office. And being present there gives me a lot of information which may not come to me so directly and so apparently when I am carrying out the audit offline. So, professional skepticism, being alert, being aware of things will certainly go a long way in helping us to improve our audit. There is one requirement, as all of us are aware, under Section 143(12) of the Companies Act, which requires the auditor to report if a fraud has taken place. or a fraud is being carried out. And there is a reporting mechanism whereby the auditor reports to those charged with governance, takes their comments, and within 60 days has to report to MCA. Now, these are the onerous responsibilities which can be better uh, discharged. And there is a guidance note on that subject which tells us how one goes step by step in this fraud reporting. It is not reporting merely basis suspicions or gossips or rumors, but to actually there are there's a process. There's a process involved before you reach a conclusion that the audit that there is a fraud which requires to be reported. And if you are present at the auditee's sites and you are professionally alert, I'm sure it will help you to discharge your duties in a better way.
One more query. Sir, regarding engagement partner review, when sourced from outside, how will the sign-off happen? The level of onus or responsibility on the engagement partner for view or opinion?
Sir, we are living in a digital world today where geographical locations are becoming matters of history. I think while COVID was a very painful period and we lost many of our dear ones and loved ones, but one of the best things which has happened out of COVID is the fact that we learned how to do things digitally and how to do even audits remotely. The very fact that we are having webinars today while we are located in different parts of the world and we are still connected is one of the aspects which we learned in COVID. So I don't think in today's times one can expect to say that, or one can be expected to be given any benefit of doubt merely because of the fact that I'm not at that particular place, the engagement partner is at a different place, the quality review partner is not at that place, because this is a digital world. If I have accepted an audit, it is my responsibility to ensure compliance with all the applicable requirements of that audit. Ultimately, nobody is forcing me to do this audit. I am accepting an audit because I believe I am competent to carry out that audit. And once you have accepted the responsibility, friends, then the professional norms require us to carry out the responsibility in the manner in which it is expected by the institute.
Thank you, sir. Once again, I thank you, Manoj sir, and all the panelists on the dais and all the participants for very good lecture from your side. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite Sri Vishnu Agarwal ji, he is on the panel for concluding remarks.
Vishnu bhai, namaste.
I think he is not there. Thank you, sir. Now we conclude the seminar. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, Pavanji. Thank you, Vishnuji. Thank you, Satish Gupta.
Okay.
Hello, yes, Pavanji.
Yes, sir. Ji.
So, question has been taken, sir. Every questions. So, should we close it?
Ji, sir. Ji, sir. Close it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sure. You can end. You can end it. Thank you, sir.
Recording stopped.